What is going on, guys? K1500 Life here. As you can tell, I've got 4 bags here. Why? No, I'm not bagging the front of my truck. I had an issue, pretty big issue actually, with this thing. As you can tell, she's on jack stands currently. I hope I can fix this. So one of these bags here, this one here, the structure is actually, as you can tell, this bag is just leaning. Compared to this and this one. Bag is leaning. You can even see the wear marks here. I wish I knew more when I did it because I could have done this so much easier, but I did it the hardest way possible. You live and you learn. It's whatever. I think what started this was when I pulled my Panhard bar when I was still 3-linking this and my truck actually fell over. Luckily the bed landed on the tire, like the bed rail. But what happened was these bags are fully deflated and it basically just, bag sits like this and the bags were sitting like this. This thing has been nothing but problems. So I bought some replacement 4 to 14 inch bags. Gonna still rock the spacer. Not a big deal. Hopefully we get this resolved though. I'm gonna move the Panhard bar mount. We're gonna raise this mount up to kind of correlate. This is technically about half ride height for the truck, so the shot or the brackets should be about perfect. The bar should be about level, which in theory it should be. We're gonna have to shorten the bar, which isn't a huge issue. Kind of show you what we got going on here. So I had this Z bar bent, which I'm gonna try it once I move this mount, and if it doesn't work, then I'll switch back to a straight bar. But my issue here is I did a drop. It's 9 inches to the center of the bolt hole. And then my axle, I totally screwed up on it. I should have left my shocks where they were realistically. And I could have did an axle offset right here. Instead I put it over here. So what we're going to be doing is I've got this rectangle tubing. And we are going to basically be encapsulating this and then running some gussets back to the actual hard mount, because this stuff is all 1/4 inch thick, welded all together, welded to the axle, top, bottom, sides, inside out. So over here I got 16.5 and that side I have 9, so that's a 7.5 inch difference, and this is like half ride height, just over half ride height, I would say, or technically just about, because the bag is 4 to 14 inches. So if you do the math there, 10 inches in between, so 5. So 9 inches would be half of the bag's travel. This is 7.5. So I've got to go up just a hair more. So we're going to call this, we'll call it 17. So it's an 8 inch difference from the center of the bolt hole. I can weld it on there and then I can float it back to this joint. That way I can weld back here and it'll look like one smooth transition. So I might do that. So it was 17 and 9, 8 inch difference, and this is 2, we'll call it 2.5. So let's see here, I'm gonna write this on here. So 17 to 9, 8 inch difference, 2.5 inch mount. So you're at 10.5, but you also need room for the bolt and the washer. So we'll call it another, we'll say another 2 inches on top of that. So 10.5, if we made this mount 12.5 inches. I really don't, because that is a big freaking mount. Where's that mark at? Yeah, that mount is way up here. So that's gonna be way too high. I don't know, that almost just looks too big, guys. I think that is just too much. 5, what? Why is my math not mathing here? It shouldn't be that much. I don't know if you guys are gonna like these styles of videos or not, but it's coming from my point of view which I'm assuming if you guys are watching these videos, you are in the similar boat I am, where you don't have a ton of knowledge, but you can't afford to pay a shop. You want to try it yourself. You know, it is hard. It really is. Obviously, I've got help from buddies, and the guy who originally bagged this when it was on the monoleaf setup, Brett McClear, Chop Shop Customs. He's been a huge help, just answering like almost every single question I've had, unless I can problem solve quickly. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here. So that gives me, that's 9.5 inches. Let me go over it one more time, just because I don't have any more of this stuff and it's not cheap. If I can compress this. 4 inches, and we'll call it 4.5. And this, I don't know if that seems right. It actually should be after I get this situated. So set my brand new bags out of the way. And we are going to find my speed square. Alright, so go ahead and plug this in, see how this goes. Alright, so I got this cut. I had to finish it with a mini grinder. I'm not going to include how long this took. I need a new blade. So I went ahead and put these on because I just got done cutting this. I went ahead and got this section cut out, and this isn't going to be so it slips around the Panhard. This is going to be so that the bar can come into here. And with doing so, this should give it the room it needs to pivot up and down, because that bar comes straight out, and then obviously it's out here. So it should give it the room it needs. Obviously, cut it out like that. I'm going to weld this back in here. It was basically just the cut this chunk off here. But we're going to put this in basically to keep this from just crunching in, which would happen once you suck that bolt tight. So putting this in there should do that, because this stuff is, I want to say this is 3/16, I don't think it's 1/8. But putting this plate in just like so, obviously get it all nice, weld this in here good, and then drill these holes here. So essentially it is 2 3/4. Yeah, so 2 3/4. So all I'm going to do is, from here it's technically 3, so 1.5 inches. 1.5 would be center, 1 3/8, 1 3/8. This stuff is 1 3/4 tall, so 1 3/4, 1 3/4. That's 7/8. So I'll have to pre-drill these, which I'll go ahead and mark the other side just so I haven't and get them pre-drilled. Drill these and get them drilled out with my magnetic drill press, which I got this from Beaver. Amazing. For the price, amazing. So these are too much, but got that drilled out. So we're gonna call it there, get this welded in, get everything finished tomorrow, I hope.